Watem here and welcome back to Small Higurashi When They Cry. Will they escape? Will Tomotage come to the rescue? Not Tomotage. Tomotage definitely won't come to the rescue. Will Akasaka come to the rescue? Or will Irie's coat's transmitter give him away again? Let's find out. We might not find out about the last one. That might take too long. Yeah, we'll probably get that far, I think. It might cut away to something else. Anyway, let's continue.
Mion-san, 気をつけて。照らす人も落ちないように。
If the lights were on, they could have gone down quickly. There were actually a few light bulbs inside the well. Of course, Mion had already checked them. It was now certain that the enemy had cut the power to the basement. It was extremely dangerous to go down this well with just the little light from the flashlights. As one went down, there had to be people lighting up the way. Mion was right. She realized as she went down herself that it was almost impossible to go down the ladder without the weak light from the flashlights. The lights didn't reach all the way down. In the darkness, her feet suddenly became unsteady. Every step she took made her more nervous. It was about 30 meters to the horizontal tunnel. That's quite deep enough already. The hidden well went even deeper than that. Mion fell. She wouldn't just injure herself. Hasn't it been 30 meters yet? She thought. She couldn't even remember exactly how long 30 meters was. Had she missed the horizontal tunnel already? At that time, she felt a cool breeze on her body, so probably not. She could sense a huge hole nearby, so she took out a flashlight to light the surrounding area. She saw the black tunnel yawning before her. That was quite a shift. Mion lit up the way from below.
よっしゃ、次はリカちゃんだ。その次が監督で、次が羽生、佐藤な。どんどん降りろよ。
Rio wanted to say that he would go last, but Renner gave the order first. Wait, what? Renner gave the order? Okay, Keiichi, you've got a new name now, apparently. They couldn't get into the basement of the clinic without Irie. Without him, they couldn't rescue Tomotage. The lives were all equally important, but some are more equal than others. But at least for the moment, his was the second most vital after Riko.
気をつけてください。照らしています。わかってる。みんなも急いで。
Riko was much shorter than Mion. She couldn't go down the ladder as easily. Her legs were too short, and her left foot slipped.
大丈夫。くそ。いつまで経っても成長できない人生なんてごめんよ。私は昭和58年6月を超える。そしてね、もっともっと身長が伸びるのよ。胸だってもっと大きくなる。いつまでもこんな子供の体なんて絶対にごめんなんだから。
Though she'd been living for over 100 years, Riko was still afraid of heights. As she fought that fear, she tried to climb down as quickly as possible. After a while, the light from the top didn't reach her anymore, and Mion's light from below lit her way. Mion's light was enough. The next person could come down.
僕はもう大丈夫です。次、降りてきて。さあ、次は監督なのです。大人ならキビキビ降り遊ばせ。
わかりました。先に行きます。
The mountain dogs moved forward carefully, wearing special goggles so they could see in the dark. The one in the front noticed Sadako's trap and stopped the rest of the men.
ウグイス7よりウグイス1へワイヤー観音のトラップを発見。突入は慎重を要す。
ウグイス1了解。大鳥1トラップの痕跡少なからず。通電を検討されては。 バカ野郎。そんなことしたら連中が逃げやすくなっちまうじゃねえか。
So here's assuming they have an escape.
向こうはこの暗闇で逃げるのもままならねえはずだ。
That is a bit of an assumption by that second part.
俺たちに有利なフィールドを最大限に使うんだ。この暗闇で追い詰めて捕らえる。これほどのでかい号だ。別に出口がきっとある。連中は隠れたりしないぜ。必ずそこから逃れようとするはずだ。
Why is that a huge cave system? So first of all, how would you know that it's a huge cave system? Second of all, all we've seen is the internal stuff. And then the tunnel itself and the well are constructed. And the actual path to get to that point is all fairly linear, so saying there must be another way out isn't entirely correct since they had to create that other way out.
突入班に火器と防弾盾、スタングレネードを与えろ。園崎家っていや、ヤクザの大御所だよ。密輸拳銃くらいの反撃は想定しろよ。ってことは、そのワイヤートラップもクライマー程度には注意しろってことだ。全身に1000個も鉛玉食らいたくなかったらな。全身バラバラになるぞ。了解。
Sadako's traps were effective only because they were professionals. Sadako had assumed any professionals would misinterpret her traps as more dangerous ones. That was why she ran wires everywhere. And Sadako was right. Both the mountain dogs were successful at breaking down the iron door. They hadn't even reached the torture room. However, the huge cave with the hidden well was just on the other side of the door to the torture room. It was just a matter of time before the enemy caught them.
よっしゃ、次はレナだ。
ケイチ君も急いでね。ケイちゃん、どんな感じですか？
ああ、今レナが降りてる。割とキリキリ降りられるみたいだぞ。
I'm guessing they
はいはい、焦って落ちないようにね。
guessing they come back after going to the armory now.
その井戸、歴代園崎家に逆らった連中の死体を捨てるのに使ったって噂もある底なしの井戸だそうですから。
シオン、お前なんだよ、その持ってるの。
You know, just your good old machine gun. Shion had returned with a big machine gun in her hands. What the heck? Keiichi thought. It's one of his machine guns they use in war movies. Its defining characteristic is the way the magazine is bent forward. What's it called again? Kasai had one in his hands too. He appeared to be used to handling machine guns. It almost didn't look real. I was expecting like a heavy machine gun, I'll be honest. But the way the magazine is bent forward, yeah, that's almost definitely not a heavy machine gun. But it seemed like a natural fit for the surreal world lit only by flashlights. Keiichi felt like the odd one out here, since he didn't know how to use a gun. Shion and Kasai hid on opposite sides of the cave so they could see the entrance to the torture room. They're probably slightly angled so they won't risk hitting each other with a crossfire. Not only Kasai, but Shion also seemed to be used to doing things like that.
シオン、その役は俺がやる。だから次はシオンが降りろ。
ケイちゃんの男のプライド、サンキューです。でも、ケイちゃんにカラシニコフの説明をするより、ケイちゃんの番になったらキリキリ降りてくれる方がロスタイムは少ないです。気にしないで。いい女は死なないから。
As Shion winked at Keiichi, they heard a door being knocked down nearby. Immediately, Shion and Kasai's looks turned stone, and they took cover behind a rock, aiming their guns into the darkness. The enemies had entered the torture room. There was a flashlight next to the door. Kasaya had left it there. Mountain dogs seemed to be able to see in the darkness, even though they couldn't. So it was an improvised solution. The footsteps of the mountain dogs were growing closer. They were passing through the torture room. In other words, the door was the only thing separating them from their enemies. No, just hurry up, Keiichi.
シオンさん。
んで、ケイちゃんに譲って私だけ生き残ったら、私はお姉に一生恨まれますって。私の思い人はもういないけど、お姉にはいるもん。
You do, I think. Probably he's just not conscious.
は？お前、この忙しい時に何の？
死ぬ気はないけど、シオンに伝えて。私たち、また次の時も双子がいいね。
行け
Shion yelled, telling Keiichi to move on. He didn't understand why Shion said to tell Shion. But she asked him, so he had to convey that message. Otherwise, if something terrible really happened, Shion's message would never reach Mion. An explosion shook the air. Aww. Something was thrown in from the torture room. The explosion from that and the noise from Kasai's machine gun sounded at the same time. Have we been throwing grenades into every room as we break it in, or do they somehow know that they're in this room? I guess they could have heard talking, but yeah. Oh well. The clamour echoed in the cave. All I can do is these violent flashes of light burn a series of images into my eyes. I shed tears of my own intolerable powerlessness, and climbed down the ladder. Mion quickly screamed from below. I descended and screamed up to the top two.
ウグイス1、攻撃を受けた。敵は隠し部屋奥の大空洞内で阻止線を展開。マズルフラッシュは2、おそらく AK だ。
集団がうまいぞ、プロだ。大鳥1、指示をこう。
そうこなくっちゃな。相手はプロだぞ。キリングハウスの卒業生以外は突入するな。ウグイス1、2、大鳥7、8、突入準備。火器はいくつある？
MP5 が4、各種グレネード多数。防弾盾は突撃銃には信用できない。放棄する。
入ってすぐ脇に発光した懐中電灯が落ちている。おそらく向こうは暗視装備がないものと推定。
ウグイス1だ。突入は俺たちでやる。合図と同時にスタングレネードを放り込み、突入3回。
While the enemies were quiet, Kasai changed his magazine.
シオンさん、もう十分です。行ってください。
私が抜けたら、葛西が弾倉を変えている間に誰が弾幕張るんです？ツーマンセルが基本でしょ。
There was a contradiction in what Shion just said. According to her theory, the last two can never escape. Mion kept shouting from the tunnel below.
シオンのバカ!
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to retreat, it would be right after he's finished reloading.
早く降りて!
Everyone knows it wasn't safe to stay, but nobody could stop Mion from screaming. And yeah, retreats are dangerous. And like in history, most of the casualties were done during the rout.
俺とミオンはここでシオンを待つ。レナはみんなを連れて裏山に逃げてくれ。
Yeah, like Australia's landing, or the Anzacs landing in Gallipoli was one of the biggest failures of World War One. However, it did have one of the most successful retreats in World War One. Yeah. Anyway, continue on.
わかった。嫌よ。誰が欠けても嫌。リカ。これが最後の世界なのよ。ここで一つ後悔が残ったから、もう一度やり直そうというのはもうない。私は嫌よ。シオンが死んだり、カサイが死んだりする未来はごめんよ。
Akasaka to the rescue?
もうやり直せないって知ってるから。嫌よ、嫌、絶対嫌。だからシオン、早く降りてきて。
As they looked up to the top of the well, they saw a violent flash and heard a roar. Then they heard explosive sounds, different from the sounds of the machine guns that Shion and Kasai were using. They also heard a tinkling sound, which could have been the sound of bullet shells. They couldn't see anything other than the flashing lights. Only the noise reached them, and everything stopped. After a little silence. Aww. Wait, we don't know yet. Footsteps that didn't belong to Shion or Kasai gathered at the top of the well. They could hear hard-soled shoes kicking for bullet shells as they walked.
Clear. ウグイス1より大鳥1、銃眼を制圧。
That voice echoed down the well, and Mion and the others heard it too. They didn't know how to react. Some became speechless, some started to cry, some let out a wordless scream. They looked up the well as they waited for Shion and Kasai to come down, but there was no sign of them. Not Shion! A bright beam of light shone down from the top of the well. Rie grabbed Mion and Keiichi's collars and pulled them back, but they could see in the dark. They might already know that Keiichi and the others were hiding in that horizontal tunnel.
了解。試みる。聞こえるか？返事をしなくてもいい。聞け！
A guy shouted from the top of the well.
女王感染者、古出理香と診療所長、入江京介を引き渡せ。君たちは誤解している。
No, never haven't.
我々は特別な風土病を撲滅するためにやってきた。今回の件は所長がある陰謀に加担している可能性があるためだ。
You mean your conspiracy?
君たちには何の関係もない。おとなしく両名を引き渡せ。
They'd already turned all the flashlights off, so nobody could tell what kind of expressions were on each other's faces. But I could sense Mion's expression distorting. And because of the darkness, nobody knew to stop her from screaming, "Oh, okay!"
人殺し！よくもしよう！
この少女のことが、それが問題。生きている。
Oh, yay!
気絶してるだけだ。
Maybe.
生きてるってよ、みーちゃん。
Mion didn't rest easy at their announcement though, because she knew Shion's survival wouldn't help resolve the situation. Also, they could be lying. You know?
こっちの男も同じだ。生きてる。だが、両名の引き渡しを無駄に拒むなら、この二人を交渉に使わねばならないぞ。
何をする気？
Murder them? As Mion looked up to the top of the well in the dark, it suddenly became very bright. She saw something unbelievable. Shion was unconscious, and one of the men was holding her. He was basically sticking her body out over the edge of the well. If the man let go of Shion, she would fall to the bottom. They had no idea how far down it went. There was no way she'd survive. Shion didn't reply, but she moved just a little bit. Shion was alive, at least for the moment. Akasaka, come to the rescue already.
はったりだ。落とすわけね。
Oh, I mean, You're really going to say that? Now?
は？何を根拠に言ってんの？人質ってのはね、2人以上いる時に限りいくらでも殺せるんだよ。上にはシオンとカサイさんがいる。奴はシオンを突き落としてもう一度こっちに同じ選択を迫れるんだよ。
And then they'll only be left with Kasai and they can't just as easily push him off.
はったりなんかで言ってるんじゃないんだよ。
And they'll want to use the more valuable one last, probably, because then they're throwing less away. So they should probably throw Kasai first. Mion lashed out fiercely at Keiichi. He regretted saying what he just did.
考える時間が必要なら与える。ただし60秒経過したら最初の人質を突き落とす。
And they don't really have anyone strong enough to even try to catch her on the way down and pull her to safety. They would just fall down as well. Maybe Rena when she's in her cute mode?
よく考えて素早く決断しろ。
どうしようどうしよう。
Mion was half crazed with fear and panic.
敵の狙いは私です。
They also want Rika.
リカさんはすでに脱出に成功したということにして、私だけが行きましょう。
If anything, you should let them have Rika, probably?
それで多分許してもらえるはずです。
That plan sounded like the best idea for minimizing damage. But Rena quietly spoke up.
ダメ。シーちゃんたちがレナたちの逃げ出す時間を稼いでくれたんだもん。監督が言ったら何のためにシーちゃんたちが頑張ってくれたかわかんなくなっちゃう。じゃあ何？シオンに死ねって言うの？レナ、あんたシオンが死んでもいいって言うの？
No, but she cares if they all die.
やめてくださいまし、ミオンさん。
What was the message for her again? Yeah, please tell Shion this.
私だって胸が張り裂けそうなんですのよ。だってシオンさんは私のネーネーなのに。
Mion started to cry as she held Sadako's head. The mountain dog's beam of light shone into the horizontal tunnel. Their eyes had grown used to the darkness, so even with a little light, they could sort of see one another. But so what? This was a desperate situation, and Mion and Sadako continued to cry. Rena bit her lower lip, trying to hold her feelings in. Irie simply looked down. And as for Rika and Hanyu, they were restless.
どうすればいいの？羽生、どうすればいいのかわからない。僕にもどうすればいいかわかりませんです。あんた神様でしょ。なんとかしてよ、なんとかしてよ。地通力とかで敵をやっつけてシオンを助けてよ。奇跡でも起こらなきゃ救えない。なら起こしてよ。神様のあなたが起こしてよ。
Slap. They all heard a strange sound. Everyone was surprised to see what caused it. Hanyu slapping her? Hanyu just slapped Rika in the face.
リカ。
Ooh. Yeah.
聞きなさい。
Very nice.
羽生。私たちは共にあまたの世界を渡り、人の身では知り得ないことをいくつも知ってきました。
A miracle is possible if they all work together.
ある時はあなたが教えられある時は私が教えられいくつもの大切なことを学びようやくこの世界で最も大切なことを学び取りました。
Wait, what have they learned?
私たちが求めてやまずそしてようやく得たものそれが何かわかりますか？
Was how to make a miracle happen. Well, we learned that last time, didn't we? A miracle is like a number you get on the die. People think that the results of the roll depend on God's mood. God holds the key to miracles. Humans don't have the right to control them. But, although humans don't have the right, they can perceive. They can perceive how to improve their odds, and how they can make a miracle happen.
奇跡の起こし方いいかあなたはもう知っているはずです。私よりも先に知ったはずです。
Believe in Akasaka?
あなたが本当に大事にしたいこの最後の世界で
Rika's mouth hung open. That's right, she thought. I had forgotten again how to make a miracle happen.
みんなは逃げてください。
Rika stood up. Everyone was surprised to hear what she said.
入江みんなを頼みますです。高野は入江も僕も殺すでしょうが僕の殺し方には高野なりのこだわりがあるはずなのです。
Which is why I suggested that Rika should be one to hand herself in. Meanwhile, Irie would still have the permissions to get them in. Although they really should have a way to get rid of those get rid of those permissions by now, right? Surely.
だから多分しばらくは殺されないでしょう。
冗談じゃねえ。でも必ず殺されるってことじゃねえか。
僕が出て行かなければ今すぐシーたちは殺されます。なら僕が捕まっても僕が殺されるまでの時間はきっと反撃のチャンスにもなりますです。リカちゃん考えてみたらとっても簡単なことだったのです。
As she spoke, Rika stepped out of the horizontal tunnel and reached the ladder. The beam of light shone down upon her. In this dark world, her figure seemed almost holy, like someone receiving a divine revelation.
だって僕たちは絶対に勝てるってみんな信じてるから。僕もみんなもそして神様までも信じてるから。神パー
Rika's smile told them that she trusted them 100%. She believed someone would come rescue her before she got killed. That was why she didn't mind letting the enemy capture her. If it would save Shion and Kasai's lives, then it was nothing.
今上がります。Cを引っ込めるのですよ。
The mountain dogs pulled Shion's body away from the edge of the well.
僕の仲間に指一本触れてみろ。舌を噛んで死んでやりますです。高野は自分の手で僕を殺したがってますからお前たちは困ったことになりますですよ。
わかった。上がってこい。
僕の仲間をこのまま見逃すのです。どうせお前たちの計画でやがては全員死ぬのです。
その条件は飲めない。命は保証するが拘束する。
じゃあお気の毒さようなら。舌を噛むよりここで手を離した方が早いわね。この底は深いわよ。私の死体が出てこないとそれもまたお前たちが計画に困るんじゃない？
Yeah, don't doubt her. She's stabbed herself with a knife multiple times to kill herself rather than going through Shion's torture. As long as they captured Rika, the mountain dogs didn't really care about the others. They were ready to kill the rest if they resisted once they had Rika. That's why they wouldn't agree to Rika's request. They started to think that maybe they should just lie to Rika. That was when they heard something. Hanyu started to speak in a clear voice. It was a voice with a very mysterious tone. It sounded like it was coming below the surface of the earth, but it also sounded like it was coming from heaven. Hanyu spoke.
この私が取引に応じると言っている。ぐずぐず言わずに言う通りにせよ。ゲロウ。フルでリカは上がる。それに対し求めた小さな約束を履行せよ。天は自ら与えぬ者に与えることはない。人の身に過ぎた考えは不要。身に過ぎた偽りの罪に身の程を知れ。
Nightingale 1, a member who had been demanding their surrender, was suddenly overcome by a strange sensation. He'd been in such an advantageous position, but somehow it didn't seem that way anymore. That girl's voice, there was something strange about it. That voice belonged to something both holy and sacred. He instinctively sensed it. Humans can only negotiate with other humans. It's impossible to negotiate with a being greater than all humans.
待て、隊長に相談する。そのままで待て。ウグイスワンより大鳥ワン。
He'd been very threatening until just a minute previous. He had grown completely perplexed. Everyone was stunned by Rika and Hanyu's mysterious auras.
必ずすぐ助け出すからね。
So what will happen indeed? I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. Until next time, see ya.